Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to break down how to calculate child support in an Illinois divorce. My name is Bobby Buchanan. I'm the host of Illinois Divorce TV and a practicing divorce attorney in the Chicagoland area. So let's dive in. First, we're going to pull up Google. In Google, we want to Google Illinois child support calculator. That's the quickest way to get where we want to go. And we're going to scroll down past the ads. And the first link is going to be Child Support Estimator, HFS, Illinois.gov. Make sure you go to the Illinois.gov calculator or the website. And the heading should be Illinois Child Support Estimator. We're going to scroll all the way down, and there's going to be two links here. The first link is going to be for parents. The second link is going to be for child support professionals or attorneys. I'm going to actually show you the attorney calculator because I think once you get used to it, it is a little bit, it's easier to use. You can see all the data in front of you. And so you'll be able to run different scenarios a little bit easier than the one that's built for parents. So here we are. The first question, the first variable that you need to put in is number of children. For our example, I'm going to put in 2 children. The second variable is number of overnights with the custodial parent. Custodial parent for this example just means the parent that has the majority of the time. So you're probably going to look at this and you're going to run a couple different scenarios. You might want to test out, what does it look like if you are the majority parent? What does it look like if the other parent is the majority parent? And you want to run it using a number of different overnights as well, because child support is based on 2 basic things: the incomes of the parties and the overnights with the child. For our first example, we're going to use the number of overnights being 261, and I'll explain why in a minute. And for our income, sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. We're going to skip, so these 2 columns here, custodial parent and non-custodial parent, pretty self-explanatory. So that whichever parent it is that has the majority of time, you're going to put their data in this middle column right here. And then the other parent is the non-custodial parent. That's where you'll put their data right here in the column to the right. This first section, determine net using, is asking you, how do you want to go from gross income to net income? For the sake of this example and simplicity, we're going to use a standardized tax deduction. When you are actually going through a divorce and it's coming down to dollars and cents, there may be a situation where it makes more sense to use an individualized deduction. But that's not going to make that much of a difference in 99% of cases. For the sake of this example, I'm not going to go that level of detail. Let's just use standardized deduction so you guys can see the basics of how this works. So we're going to keep these the same here. Now, gross monthly income, for the sake of this first example, we're going to say $8,000 gross for both parents. Now, going down, we have to take a look at these other rows, and they involved other factors in the child support calculation. You get certain deductions for certain expenses, very particular expenses. Child support is not calculated, does not care about your general expenses. It only cares about very specific expenses. So the first one is maintenance. We're not going to do maintenance in this example, so I'm just going to leave those at 0. We're going to go down. These are blanked out because we're not dealing with maintenance. And then this one is maintenance as well. Going to leave that at 0. Leave that at 0 because it's maintenance. 0. Social Security dependent benefit allotment. For our example, we're not dealing with a dependent benefit allotment, so we're going to leave that at 0. Multifamily adjustments. This would be a situation where there are children outside of the marriage that you or your spouse is supporting. For the sake of this example, I'm not going to deal with that either. I just want to give you guys the very basic child support calculation here, but once you dive in, you can start playing with these numbers and figuring out how they may affect your child support. Monthly health insurance, now that is going to play a part in most child support situations because one party most likely is going to be ordered to carry insurance for the child, and that may have a certain cost to it, or will have a certain cost, unless you have a position where maybe adding a dependent is not an additional cost. For the sake of this example, I'm leaving it at 0, but just know that you can go down here and you can say provided and then click on from and choose non-custodial parent or custodial parent and put the amount. Now, number covered, if you know the specific amount for your child, you can put that here. If you don't, you can put the number of people covered by the insurance or the total amount and then put the number covered by the insurance, and the calculator does a calculation, basically prorates it. Again, I'm going to leave this blank for now. Childcare expenses, those can be ordered to be split by the parties. So you can put those in here and it will tell you what that calculation should be. And then extraordinary school and extracurricular activity expenses can be added as well here, and those would be divided based on the incomes of the parties. We're keeping it basic and we're going to calculate it. So we're going to hit calculate and get your child support amount. So in this scenario, with both parties making $8,000 and number of overnights being 261, you're paying $1,179.73. Now, let's start to change the number of overnights to see what happens. First things first, the reason that we use 261 is that this is the number of overnights that the majority parent will have if the other parent has every other weekend and a weekday overnight, which is a pretty typical basic schedule when the parties don't live too close to each other, but they live close enough where a midweek overnight is not logistically impossible. Judges give out this type of schedule a lot. Child support is affected by overnights, but it is on kind of a step-down schedule where if you get to the place of, if you have 60% of overnights or more, it's one tier of child support, or it's a certain calculation. If you drop below 60% and you're between 60 and 40%, then it's another tier, and it's actually drastically lower, and I'm going to show you that right now. So let's go to, I did this calculation before, 219, that's 60%. So if we go back here and we say 219 overnights, well, actually let's start with 220 because I think that's the threshold. We're going to calculate. Yep, same number, 1,179. So if you have 220 or 261, it's the same number. Let's say you have 219 overnights. What happens? $342. I have another video on how dumb this child support law is, but this really epitomizes how dumb it is. But those are the numbers. So if you have 219 overnights, you get $342. If you have one more overnight, you get like $700 more per month. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't get me started. If you want to see here, let me just show you as a last one here, 183 overnights. That's, you have one more overnight. It's basically a 50-50 schedule. The way this calculator actually shows it is that you would be paying $8.92. With a schedule like this, it's going to be a 0-0 calculation. The reason that it's $8.92 from you to the non-custodial parent, or from the custodial parent to the non-custodial parent, is because of how this calculator is calculating the gross to net calculation. And honestly, I couldn't tell you exactly what it's doing here to give that $8.92, but all I can say is in practice, it's going to be zeroed out. If you have that close of a schedule and you have that sort of income, no one's going to be paying child support. So that's kind of our basic overview. I'll do another video where I break down how this is affected if you do maintenance, how it's affected if you have child support, child care expenses, etc. But for your basic experiments as far as figuring out what you might have to pay in child support, this is the website you want to use. If you have any questions, drop them in a comment box below. Contact me or my firm, and we're happy to see if we can help you. Have a great day.